Hey you! Thanks for stopping by! Today I have another disturbing manga review. It's Metamorphosis by Shindo L. I've wanted to talk about this story for a while. According to MyAnimeList, the story was published digitally in 2016, then released physically the following year. Recently, a hardcover edition came out. The title comes from the Franz Kafka novel. It is also called Emergence and 177013. It's one of the most well-known disturbing manga, and we are going to find out why. You've probably seen images of it online, including this one of the protagonist.
Guys, she's got glasses and a ponytail. Oh, look at that. She's got paint on her overalls. What is that?
I first learned about this manga when AkiDearest made a video on it. I can't believe that was 7 years ago.
This is a pretty old manga, but I never knew about this. The only reason I know about it is because Faku sent me like a bunch of things, and one of the books they sent me was Metamorphosis. And when I posted it on Twitter, which you guys should follow me by the way, some of you guys who are familiar with the story tweeted at me saying that it was going to be very depressing, but it was definitely something that I should read. So this was the first one to indulge myself in, and I went in thinking that I was going to just see a bunch of very well-drawn sex scenes, and you know, I thought it was maybe gonna have some funny parts. Nope, from beginning to end, this was pretty depressing.
After hearing about it, I had to check it out. At first, I couldn't find it online, so I forgot about it, until another YouTuber, SpookyRice, also made a video on it. And by that point, I was able to find it online. Metamorphosis follows the story of a high school girl who wants to make friends, but gets involved with the wrong people, which causes her life to take a dark turn. Let's find out how dark it is. The story begins with a young girl named Saki Yoshida graduating from middle school without making a single friend. She turned down any chance to hang out for fear of being looked down on. Saki realizes being alone made her hate herself. She goes to ask her mom how to put on makeup. She gets a makeover, getting rid of her glasses and braids. Looks like Saki has loving and supporting parents. On her first day of school, she's turning heads and getting invited to hang out after school. She changed her life for the better. And that's Metamorphosis. Thanks for stopping by. Okay, that's not how a story ends. If you like happy endings, I suggest stopping here. Reminds me of that Orson Welles quote, "If you want a happy ending, that depends, of course, on where you stop your story." Saki goes into a store to buy a magazine, where she meets an older man who compliments her and asks if she's a model. Saki isn't used to being complimented. He suggests they go to a karaoke bar. They start getting comfortable before advancing to kissing and touching. The man offers Saki a pill to make her feel good. The naive girl takes it. While under the influence, the man takes the opportunity to have intercourse with her. The whole time, she believes this is love even though he insults her to her face, saying she was easy. When he's finished, gives her his phone number before leaving. That's when Saki learns his name is Hayato. She thinks to herself, does this mean I have a boyfriend? In the next chapter, Saki is still seeing Hayato. They make love in a hotel. She can only have intercourse while high on the pill. At school, one of Saki's friends suggests a way for her to make money by going on dates with older, lonely men. Saki hesitates, but the friend assures her that if the men try to get touchy, just threaten to call the cops. One of Saki's biggest flaws is how easily she gets talked into doing something. Later, we see Saki waiting outside for her date. He's an old businessman named Kumagi. After dinner, Kumagi wants to stop by a hotel to smoke. She says this wasn't part of their agreement. He gives her a choice. It's either go to the hotel or walk home alone in the dark. In the hotel, it becomes clear he wants to do more than smoke. He offers her cash to touch her. The touching escalates to her licking his popsicle. Then Kumagi begins to have intercourse with her. Saki yells, "You can't put it in, you can't put it in," but he shoves her face into the bed. Saki feels bad for cheating on Hayato. Yeah, she gets taken advantage of a lot in this story. Later that night when she comes home, Saki's mom is worried why she stayed out so late. Saki is afraid to tell her the truth. Her mom assures her whatever happens, she will be on her side. The next day, Saki is approached by a group of male classmates who took a photo of her near the hotel with Kumagi. They threaten to send the picture all over school unless she does special favors for them. These special favors make her popular with the boys. Her female classmates begin to notice the attention she's receiving, and rumors begin to spread about her. That night at home, the father tells the family he got laid off. Saki wants to help by getting a part-time job. The dad refuses. The mom defends her daughter by saying she's a woman now. And the dad starts looking at Saki differently. That night, the dad comes into Saki's room drunk and begins to force himself on her.
Oh God! No! God, please, no! 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 No!
It gets even worse when the dad compares Saki to the mom. This is the third time a guy forced himself on Saki. It doesn't end there. This goes on for days. It doesn't get better at school, where she continues to perform special favors for the boys. One day, Saki finds her desk vandalized. The secret's out. She runs out of the room trying not to cry and hoping to find solace in her mom. At home, it gets worse. The mom found out about Saki and her dad. The mom is angry at her daughter for seducing her dad. I don't believe the mom believes that's what happened. I think she's in denial. She's one of those moms who picks a man over her child. The mom is angry, begins to yell and beat Saki. Saki escapes to her room sobbing as she begins to pack her belongings. So much for always being on her side. Saki goes to live with Hayato. I want to point out Saki refers to Hayato as her boyfriend, but he never calls Saki his girlfriend. He calls her his F-buddy. In the next chapter, it's revealed Saki is living with him and has dropped out of school. In Saki's words, she says, "That's right, I don't go to school anymore. I'm living with Hayato now, and we make love to each other every night until dawn, and sleep until noon. I'm not like these kids." Hayato introduces her to a white substance. As usual, she gets talked into doing something dangerous.
Just stop! Just stop it! Stop! No! Just stop it!
When Saki learns Hayato owes his dealer money, a lot of money, she agrees to pay off his debt by selling her body. After Saki gets high for the first time, a customer has intercourse with her. Then right after, Hayato wants to get her pierced. She gets piercings on her breasts and one in her private area. She doesn't stop there. She gets more piercings, tattoos, tanned skin, and dyes her hair blonde. Her second metamorphosis. Sometime later, Saki discovers she's pregnant, but doesn't know who the father is. She tells Hayato, who recommends she terminate the pregnancy. Once again, being talked into doing something she doesn't want to do. Saki only terminated the pregnancy because that's what Hayato wanted. She thinks he cares about her, and sadly, all she has left. In the next scene, she meets with Kumagi. You remember, the guy who assaulted her in the hotel? Kumagi asks if she changed her appearance to please her boyfriend, and if she is being taken advantage of. Saki defends Hayato by saying he's kind and mature. Kumagi says he's not interested in her anymore because, in his own words, Saki devalued herself. With the piercings, tattoos... He gives her money so she can eat, but Saki offers him a discount. She humiliates herself so he will sleep with her. When Saki goes to meet with Mr. Obata, Hayato's dealer, he starts touching her, then gives her an injection that gets her high. Mr. Obata and another customer do it with her at the same time. Everyone uses Saki in some way. When they finish, they dump her in the alley. She wakes up to find her money stolen, which was supposed to pay off Hayato's debt. She goes back to Mr. Obata for help. He agrees to pay her if she earns it with her body. He gives her the option to be paid in cash or drugs. She chooses the drugs. She's an addict and not thinking of the consequences. Back home, Hayato is angry when Saki comes home with no money. He goes through her wallet and finds the drugs, thinking that's what she spent it all on. He kicks her out. No matter how much Saki begs and pleads, it doesn't work. No friends, no family, and no home.
It's time to No more. Where the fuck are your parents? Who are your parents? I'm gonna call Child Protective Services. It's time to stop!
She wanders the streets before ending up at a public park. She takes some of the drugs and begins touching herself. 2 homeless men find her, and you already know where this is going. They have a 3-way. Saki passes out when they finish. She wakes up the next morning and the homeless man offers her food. She vomits before she can eat it. It's then Saki discovers she's pregnant again. Oh gee, I wonder who the father is. I'm starting to think it might be Kumagi, since she did it with him right after she terminated the pregnancy. The homeless men suggest she terminate the pregnancy, but Saki doesn't want to go through it again. This baby will be a chance for the young girl to change her life for the better. Yeah, I think we've all been wanting to tell Saki to just stop and get help.
Stop it. Get some help.
In the final chapter, months pass and Saki is very pregnant. Sadly, she hasn't beaten her addiction. She holds off on drugs until the withdrawal becomes too much and starts taking again. Saki makes money by sleeping with homeless men. The chapter even begins with Saki sleeping with a guy in a cardboard box. When she goes to buy drugs, the dealer calls her a goner. She looks awful. They say she smells and she's lost a few teeth. Saki has money saved in a coin locker when a group of high school students notice her stash and accuse her of stealing. These are her former classmates. This girl right here does not get enough hate. She's the one who recommended Saki date older men for money, which led to her getting blackmailed and ruining her reputation. Sure, Hayato, her parents, Mr. Obata, Kumagi are just as bad and deserve hate, but she also played a huge part in Saki's downfall. Her classmates screwed her over in the beginning and now in the end as well. We've come full circle. They beat the pregnant homeless girl and shove a bottle inside her. They see her as beneath them. They take her money, leaving Saki bleeding on the floor. She stumbles to the bathroom. She pleads for help, but a man passing by ignores her. She puts on her glasses, reminding her of the shy, innocent girl in the beginning who just wanted friends.
Yes, it's time to stop. No, this is not okay. It's time to stop. It's time to stop. I'm sorry, Mom.
Saki smashes her head against the mirror. All she has left are her drugs from earlier, which she takes. We flash forward to Saki, now an adult, with her daughter, Hana, in the park, finally having turned her life around. Saki looks back on how she used to hate herself, and that by having Hana, she finally had something to look forward to. Her daughter was, in her words, the seed of her rebirth. Shindo L crushes our hopes one last time when it's revealed this was all her imagination and Saki actually passed away on the bathroom floor. That's the end of the story. You might be thinking, Marjorie, that's not how it ends. Everyone knows the Josuke ending is the true ending. It starts with Saki dying on the bathroom floor until Jojo comes in to heal her. She turns back to her old self as the boys leave. Saki cries, realizing she has a second chance. We then skip to Saki, who has grown up with her daughter, and they live happily ever after. Finally, someone showed her kindness. This is the preferred ending among readers. There is another ending where it's revealed the whole story was part of an adult film. Saki and everyone was just an actor. Several sources said that the mangaka Shindo L considers the JoJo ending canon. So, Metamorphosis had a happy ending after all. You can pick whichever ending you want. Speaking of Shindo L, he did an interview with the Anime Man, which gives insight into his thought process when making the story.
That's good. I guess one thing I also wanted to ask is, because of the, meme status of Emergence, right. And, a lot of people saying like, oh, like Emergence is fucked up, like the creator is fucked up, like how can anyone enjoy this kind of stuff? I guess like now that you are on camera for probably a lot of people to see, what is, one misinterpretation that people have about you or your works that you'd like to, cover your tracks on?
The main fallacy that most people would have is that whatever opinions a character might have in a manga directly correlate to the opinions of the artist or the author.
Right.
Which is, silly because there are a lot of characters in the manga and you can't just pick one out and try to paint that onto the author.
He also appeared on the Trash Taste podcast.
Have you ever had anyone come up to you at events or whatever and being like, I really related to Saki's character, or related to this particular character that spoke true to them?
I get that a lot from Saki. Especially.
Oh yeah. Damn.
I feel bad now.
Yeah, right.
As usual, I like to include reviews of what people thought of this manga. Let's read a few. I originally read this manga online for free, but decided to purchase the hard copy on Amazon. Simply put, it is one of the best stories I have ever seen, a true Greek tragedy, and I wanted to support the author. The story in a nutshell, pun intended, is about this girl who wants to have friends. She decided to have a makeover on her first day of high school, and she turned out to be pretty successful. Unfortunately, she meets with the wrong people and her life starts spiraling downwards. The author is very descriptive and puts a lot of detail in the drawings. The reason why this story is one of my top 10 is because of how real it feels. This story doesn't try to be edgy for the sake of being edgy. Everything that happens for a reason. I definitely recommend giving it a read and support the author by purchasing this book. I cannot describe how well written and drawn this manga is. Wow. One can either take this work of art as hentai or a story with meaning. This manga realistically shows what can happen and has happened when you go down the path of drugs and prostitution. Yes, it's explicit in every way, but the story is one that I believe anyone with a strong mentality should read. As for the book itself, I haven't unwrapped it yet because I read it online and would prefer to keep my copy sealed. But it is definitely good quality. It's heavy, evenly printed pages, unlike Yen Press, and the cover artwork is beautiful. I just have to let you know that the book cover was quite a surprise. I would expect something far more explicit than the front cover, and disturbing if you aren't already familiar with the contents of the book. I had no warning, so just keep that in mind. But overall, I have to recommend this work. This story just makes me sad. Did not like at all. Cannot recommend to anyone. Disturbing and depressing. Spoilers. I cannot recommend anyone buy this unless they are into really dark, depressing endings. Basically, a girl gets turned into an addict and gets pregnant. She is assaulted while pregnant and kicked in the stomach until she starts bleeding from the crotch. Then ends herself by ODing. It's a shame really, I like Shindo L work. I have other things by him and they are all kinda effed up. But this was way too dark for me. I got this because my son was asking for it for his birthday. I ended up screening it first because it seemed a little inappropriate. You know the saying though, don't judge a book by its cover. Despite its outside appearance, I deemed it safe for my boy to read as it would teach him many important life lessons like staying away from drugs and using protection. After he finished, I decided to pick it up again, but some of the pages felt a little strange. I don't know if it was just the material that was used for the paper or if my son dropped it in something. Still, it's well worth it for the $18. I would highly recommend. If you like this video, then consider subscribing, liking, and sharing. What are your thoughts on Metamorphosis? What's the most disturbing manga you've read? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for stopping by.